Reuters politics data reporter Jason Lang explains.
Polling can give you a pretty good idea of how the whole country might answer a particular question if you ask them right now. Polls tell us how the whole country might answer that question, or part of the country, or part of the population. It is less good at telling you how they are going to act in the future.
Pollsters begin by asking many people the same questions. Some ask a few hundred people, others ask several thousand. The number of people surveyed is called the sample size. A big sample is like having more pixels in a digital photo. The more people surveyed, the clearer the picture.
Some polls only ask a couple hundred people what they think. If you want to extrapolate from that what the whole country thinks, 300 million or more, then it's going to give you a pretty fuzzy picture.
Pollsters will often include a margin of error, which gives them a little wiggle room when extrapolating the results of, say, a 1,000-person sample to the entire nation.
So if you have a margin of error for a poll that asked 4,000 people what they think, it might only be a few percentage points. So that's not very fuzzy. The margin of error for a couple hundred people in your sample might be so big that the poll only gives you a general picture, but nothing precise.
A big margin of error might mean that no clear conclusions can be drawn. If one candidate has a lead over another, that lead should be about twice as large as the margin for the advantage to be meaningful. But how do we know that a poll actually represents America?
When you're conducting your poll, you want your sample to be representative of the group whose head you want to get into. If that group is the whole country, you want your sample to be representative of the whole country. And weightings is a way that the pollsters go about doing this.
For a more representative picture, pollsters will ask people about their race, education, and other demographic information. Then they'll check that the mix of people in the poll matches the Census Bureau's estimates on the mix of people that make up the whole country. Polls do not, however, predict the future.
The other thing to keep in mind about polling is that in the case of presidential election polls, often the polls are nationally representative. And so they give an idea of what the whole country thinks, and that might correlate pretty well with how the popular vote is going to be carried out, but it doesn't tell you who's going to win the Electoral College. You might need to look at state level polls to think about who's going to win Pennsylvania. But even then, you might not have as many of those polls, and they might have smaller samples. And so it is just very hard to try to predict the future with polling or with any tool.
Footage released by State Emergency Services of Ukraine shows firefighters battling a blaze at an educational institution in the Ukrainian Black Sea port of